which is a seeded series and which is a custom series. So generally what we suggest, or when we do implementations, right, or when we are creating a new custom series, we try to give a certain naming convention so that it can be easily identified or differentiated, which is a seeded series and which is a custom series. Okay, so before creating a series, right, I think last time we stopped at a lookup properties. Quickly I go through the remaining properties also, and then we'll try to create a new series. Okay, so I'll go to the data properties. So this is one of the main data property. So I'll take the same series example which we discussed last time. So this is one of the important data properties in a series definition. Okay, so data table specifies on which table you are trying to create a series. Okay. So series is nothing but a placeholder to store some data. So whenever you're creating a series, you should mention to which particular base table the series has to be attached and which column it refers. Okay. In this case, for example, there is history series. So I'm trying to create a history series on a sales data table. So whatever data I load to history series, whether it's through the transactional system or if you want to override, so whatever data I try to load, that goes and sits in actual underscore quantity column in sales data table. Okay. And there's a data type. What is the data type of that particular series? So it's a numeric, or it could be date type, or it could be a string type. So most of the cases we use numeric, and rare cases we use data and string options. I'll explain where we use those also. But 90% of series what you see in Demantra, those are of number type. Okay. Then you can ignore this synchronization part, and there's something called available for exceptions. So when you're going through the worksheet definitions, right, in the worksheet there was something called exception concept, where you want to filter the data based on the series numbers, based on the series, right? So if you enable this checkbox, this series is available for the exception in worksheets. Otherwise you will not see the series in the list of value when you try to do the exception on a worksheet. And the important property is a proportional. So whenever you are trying to load a data, or when you are trying to update a series, right, so you want to proport the values, right? So the meaning, the purport meaning, like if you are loading a data at aggregated level, right, for example at a organization level, so within that organization you may have 10 customers. So what is the number you are loading at a customer level, sorry, at an organization level? You want to purport, or you want to split that value across all the lowest levels or across all the customers which are there within that organization. So you'll specify to which series you want to purport, on which database or on which data or using which data you want to purport that value which you are loading to this particular series. Okay. Then aggregate function. So when you are trying to read the series on a worksheet, so when you are playing with aggregation levels, right, if you are viewing the data at item level or organization level or item org level, so how you want to see the data, aggregate functionality, whether you want to sum up, whether you want to average it. Okay, so these are the list of functions what we have. So most of the cases we use sum or average function. Okay, so these are the important fields, you can ignore the remaining things. And this is one of the important area again, expression. So whenever you pull the data series on a worksheet, whatever data you see in a worksheet in that specific series, right, so that's mainly depends or retrieved or calculated based on the server expression or the client expression. Okay, I'll tell you the difference between the client and server expression. Basically, server expression is a calculated field, or I would say it's an expression written based on the database columns from a particular table. Okay, if you see here actual underscore quantity, it is getting from branch underscore data. So whenever I try to pull the history series on a worksheet, generally what it does is it will try to execute this expression. So whatever the value returned by this expression, that get displayed on a worksheet. So then a question comes is, what is this branch underscore data? So branch underscore data is nothing but it's a sales data table. Okay, so internally system refers sales data as a branch underscore data table. Okay, if I try to edit this expression, if I try to give sales data here, it will not accept that. So this is a CZ functionality, so we cannot change this. So we have to always refer the sales data with branch underscore data naming convention. Okay, wherever you see branch underscore data in the expression, that is nothing but it's a sales data table. So this is a server expression. And if you are trying to write expression on using more than one table, then you can use the from class and where class, similar like the SQL queries what we write. Okay, since I'm using the expression, since I'm using only one column from one set of table, so that is the reason there's no from class and where class. Because this is about the server expression. So in simple terms, server expression always tries to retrieve the data from the database columns. Okay. Now client expression is like read-only expression, I would say, or it's mainly used to do the on-file calculations in the worksheet. Okay, we'll go with this expression in detail when we try to create multiple series with the different options that will see this expression, client expression. Okay, but most of the cases you play around with the server expression, rarely we use the client expression. Next is the edit lock expression. So series could be of multiple types. It could be edit series or it could be non-editable series. So if you want to make a series as an editable series based on a condition, okay, condition based locking, like if the series, if the time period is less than the sys date, if you want to log the series, okay, those kind of expressions you can write here. So based on the, whenever the condition is satisfied, on those conditions you cannot edit the series or you cannot override the numbers in the series. Then there is a color expression. So whenever you want to color a series, right, for example, if you have a particular series, if the series value is greater than 500, okay, you want to mark it green color, that particular cell, or you want to make it yellow. So those kind of expressions you can give in the color expressions. Okay, so this how the uh, expressions are handled in the expression properties window. And the last one is the security. So this says, right, to which particular user you want to assign this particular series. So right now I have these many users in the system, so I'm assigning this history series to this list of users. So if I create any user, right, the user will be displayed on the left hand side on the available user list. So if you want to assign this series to that particular user, you have to select that user and you have to move it to the right hand side. Then only that series can be accessed or viewed by that particular user. Any questions? Okay, so let me go and create a new series just for to give a simple demo on this. So we'll try to play around with the different options. Okay, let's try how many things uh, whatever we can cover today, we can cover that. So there are two ways you can create a series. One is you can create a series from right click on the existing series. You can create a new option or you can create a create as option. Okay, yes, can you hear me or not? Hello, Niladri Srini.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So there are two ways you can create a series. One is just right click on the series, use a create as option or a new option. So new option is like it gives a complete blank window, so you have to enter all the stuff manually. Create as option is it just try to create a copy of the existing series. So wherever you want, you can do the modifications to that existing series. Okay, or you can create from the shortcut icon here on top in the menu option. there's something called new option. If I highlight here, but it's not showing. Basically, this also is to create a new uh, series here, which is there on the top left corner. Okay, so let me show you this. So this is how it pop-ups a window. So this is a series ID uh, which is internally generated. So I'll create one custom series name convention with this tilde symbol. I'm trying to create a new series with history demo, or maybe history demo series history. Then I'll try to rename this internal name also. I'll try to make it as xx underscore demo. Okay, so this is internal name. Then I don't want to make this editable. I just want to make it as a view only series. So whatever the data you see in this series, that's only read only purpose. So you cannot edit the numbers. So to do that, I'll make this stay and focus and non-editable. Okay, I'll go to display properties. So I'll not change anything here. So I'll just keep it as a total only summary, and we'll just keep everything as is. I want to display the series both in graph and table. So I mentioned as display track table and graph. So I'll move on to the next one. So no elbow as of now. Then here's the place you have to define the properties of this particular series. Okay. Now where you want to define this series, right? So what I'll do is I select the table here. Okay. I want to create on the sales data table. Now when you're trying to select a table, what it will try to say is whether you want to create a new database column for this series or not. Okay, when I click OK, right, so what actually it does is it will try to create an additional column in the sales data table. Okay. So for example, if I query this, if I do the description of the sales data now, so we don't have the demo specific column in this particular column list in the sales data table. So if I try to search with that, you'll not find that. So we created the XX, right, internal name. So there is no series starting with the XX. Okay, I'll go with search with up also. Okay, we don't have anything. So whenever you mark it as okay, right? So what it does internally by default, it will add a new column to the sales data table. So the naming column, so the column naming convention is based on the internal name what we gave in the general properties. Okay, just I'll keep okay for now. Okay, see it has created a column name with the same name XX demo history series history. That's what we gave in the general properties when we defined the a series name, right? So I'll make it available for exception, and I'll make it proportion to history. Okay, just we'll make it as an aggregation, some aggregation function. Now this expression. So before we go, I'll take step back now. So here this update field is there, right? So this update field basically what it suggests is if you are defining a series of override series type, means you are allowing the user to edit the numbers in the series from the worksheet, then this update field is useful. Okay, so whenever you are creating any series of editable type, you have to associate a database column to that particular series. If it's a read-only type measure or read-only type series, right, there's no need to attach the database column. So for timing, since I'm making it as a read-only series, I'll not attach any database column to it. I'll make it blank. Okay, I'll create a numeric type database column. let it be. I think if you create a column, it will not allow to deselect it. So we should make it cancel, but let it be this one. We'll go for other example later point of time. So if it's a read-only series, this it's not mandatory to have a update field. Okay, you can make it blank also when you are creating the series for the first time. So here is the expression where you have to mention. So to write an expression, just click on this icon here, which is there here on the right side. So just write an expression with a simple SQL statements. So just for timing, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use the same column which we use in the history series, so that I can see the data on the worksheet. Okay. So whenever you're writing expression, make sure you validate that expression so that whatever expression you have written is a valid expression or not. So to do that, there is something called verify option. So invalid expression. I think column name is different. Something else sales, I think. One minute, I'll check the database column name existing. It's actually underscore quantity. So since I was referring to wrong database column name, it was giving invalid expression. So I'm trying to refer actual underscore quantity from sales data table. So alias name is badge underscore data. So the expression is valid now. So once this is done, just click OK and move on to the next step. So I'm assigning to the DM user. Okay. Just save the details. Once you do this, so if you want to see this series on the worksheet, what you have to do is you have to bounce the server. Let me do that quickly. It will not take much time. let that open. So meantime, what we try to do is we'll try to check the database table where these details are stored. Okay, so I think that also opened. So whatever numbers are in the history series, same numbers you should see in the new series what we have created. Okay. Okay. So you have the same numbers here. History, because whatever the data column this history series is referring, we try to use the same series, same database column in the demo series history series also. Okay. Now let's try to identify what is the database table where all these details are stored. So there's something called computer underscore fields table. Okay. So this is a place where you can see all the series definitions which are custom created on the seeded one. So these are seeded history series. Okay, and the expression of this. So the computed fields is nothing but the internal name of that particular series, or let's go with the one which I created. So this is a series which we have created. So this is an internal ID, the sequence ID which gets created when you create a new series. So in this case, this will match to the series ID, right? And computed name is nothing but the internal what we have given here, and the expression is the one which is in the expression properties, right? And rest all its specific display properties. And the next is computed thread is nothing but the series name what we are given here on the first screen on the general properties, and this aggregate function what we are given in the data properties, and this is going to the important fields which are required, and editable and non-editable is specific to this one. So since not editable, right, it is marked to 0. So basically it has I think 0, 1 and 3 I think. Okay, so 1 is non-editable completely. Okay, and next is the DB name which is referring to this particular column update field which is created in the sales data table, and you can see to which particular table this particular series is pointing to. So it's pointing to branch underscore data. It's nothing but a sales data table. Okay. So this is where you can see the series details. So the important columns mainly you need to consider is computer name, expression, and title, database column, and the table name. So these are the few important columns generally we go through, and apart from there are few more things, one or two important columns. So there's something called expression, client expression specific column. So this is a client expression display one, which we are not written in this for this one, so we don't have anything here. And there's something called block expression. So since we have not written anything for these two columns, so the columns are blank. Okay, so this table has all the list of series details. Any questions on the series definition? Okay, so if we are good, I'll move on to the next one. So for the same series, just we'll try to make it a client expression. Okay, or okay, let me do this the other way around. I select any existing series. Okay, just to show you a client expression logic how it works. I select this one. Okay, 2 month lag forecast, just for an example. So I do not want to create a new additional series for this. So basically, when you are writing a client expression, right? So it's basically you are writing on top of a series. You are not writing on a database column. So you can see a list of series. So you can select from this list whichever series you want to pick. So the drawback here is you cannot search. So you have to go one after the other. Okay. So history. Next, what I'll try to do is I would like to subtract the numbers from two series. Okay. So I'll take the other one, the one which we created, demo series. Okay. Let's try to if it's a valid expression. Yes. So generally, what client expression will do is when you are trying to read the data on a worksheet for this particular series, so generally what it does is whatever the expression, whatever the series you select in the expression, right, during the runtime, during the display of the data on the worksheet, it will try to show the numbers on the worksheet. So it's like a worksheet level calculation. So these details are not stored anywhere. It's like doing a minus b kind of thing. Okay, so those kind of expressions you write for the uh, those kind of expressions you write in client expressions, where just to see some calculation of the worksheet, you don't want to store those results on the database. The only problem is whenever you do any change, you have to do the server bounds. Okay, 2 month lag forecast. Okay, sorry. It's still saving, so I don't see anything here. So save it, right? 2 month lag forecast. So whatever expression we wrote in the client expression, you can see here. So just quickly I'll bounce the server one more time. Okay, I'll add that new series where we have modified the expression. Actually, this series is not assigned to that user, so it was not showing up there. So I have to bounce one more time. So the series is not enabled for that user, it will not display. Okay. So it's trying to do simple mathematics like this history value minus this value. So whatever value is here, right, is a calculated value which is showing only at the worksheet level. These values are not stored anywhere in the database column. So if the user wants a series where they want to see only the calculations based on the history, based on the series result, right, they can use the client expression. Okay. So the point, one more point here is, if you go to this particular series, right, expression, you have two expressions here. You have server as well as a client expression. Okay, so when you have both the expressions for a particular series, server expression gets ignored, client expression takes the precedence. Okay, in this case, when you are trying to read this data of this series on the worksheet, so this expression is ignored, only this is considered, and the data is displayed based on this particular expression. Okay, that's how it works. So maybe you can play around with this these two, but if you have any question, explain later. But they are simple expression, just edit lock and color coding. Okay. Any questions on the series one? Okay. So let me show you one more last this one in series, my editable and non-editable feature. So also, how will you know what table name should be, like sales data advanced? So actually I didn't get your question. Okay, I'll try to answer this one. I'm not clear with the first two questions. Maybe you can ask later point of time. So let's make this as a double series. It's not coming. Okay. So I'm making this 2 month lag focus, editable both for history and future bucket. So I'll just save this. and maybe we can see this also later, because you'll not find much difference now in the system, because we have not created a feature buckets. Feature buckets gets created only we generate a forecast. So at this point of time we don't have any forecast in the system, so we don't have any additional records in the sales data table, so you'll not find this difference. Okay, we'll see when we generate a new forecast in the system. Okay, so just these two identify or to make the series editable or not editable for the user. Okay, that's the important property. So this is on the series part. Then let's try to understand how we write the queries. Whenever we want to read the data from the backend for a specific series, right? So the way you have to map the tables is, because always it's very difficult to analyze the numbers from the worksheet if you are trying to read the data at the different aggregated levels. So it's better to get it from the database tables always. Okay, so let's understand, or let's take an example. I'm trying to see the series data of this tree from the database tables. Okay, what are the tables and what are the columns to be considered? Okay, first I want to understand, or I want to write a query at item level. Okay, so before start writing query, first we need to understand for history series what is the expression associated to it. Okay, let's assume the history series is having only server expression. Okay, so whenever you're trying to retrieve data from the backend, you need to consider this exp template column value. Okay, because this is the expression which is used by the series to display the data on the worksheet. So what I'll do is I'll get this column, or I'll get this expression. So just for timing, you can ignore this hash ignore. This has a different functionality. It's like conversion factor. This is basically, we'll talk about this later. Okay, I'll remove this now. Now what I'll try to do is, this actual index quantity is in the sales data table. Branch data is nothing but a sales data table. So I'll take this table here. So if I write this right, so generally what it gives is, it gives the data across all the combinations what I have. Okay, this is not specific to item or not specific to a customer, right? Then what I generally do is, now I go to MDP metrics table. So the common columns between MDP metrics and sales data is item ID and location ID. Then try to join those two tables. Now when I try to query this table, this query, again it gives the same value, because we are not trying to get the data at a item level. Now I'll go and get the level table also. This is a place where the item details are stored, right? Now the join condition between these tables is, level table should always map it to a MDP matrix table. Okay, so the column mapping column would be MDP dot. So take this table name and give underscore EP underscore ID. So you'll get the same column name in the TEP item table. Okay. Now I'll try to group this by the date from the sales data table and item from the item table. Okay. Now whatever the result you get, right, that is item level for a specific month or for a selected month. So this is the data what we have in the worksheet. So this is how you can get the data from the backend. You can add more tables also, level tables. If I want to say at item organization level, I'm trying to read the data at item organization level. So this is how you can get the data from the database tables. Okay. So this is a MDP metric. So MDP metric has a both the item specific information, location, or you can write the other way around also, same query. So there are two more tables which stores the hierarchy information separately. Instead of MDP matrix, I need to take the two other tables. One is item. I think it's item or items. Let me query that. Items. So it should be item, and there should be one more table called location. So whenever I try to join the level tables with the sales data table, in this case, the way I need to map is all the item specific hierarchy tables should be mapped to item table, and the location table specific level table should be mapped to location. Okay, so in this case, this item goes to item ID goes to ITM. Okay, sorry, not here. This here. Okay, and so 1 minute. Sorry, hold on. This term not required anymore because we are not referring to the MDP matrix table. So this should go to the location table. So this also should be the same result what we got before. What happened? So you get the same result in this case also. Okay. Maybe something wrong here. Uh, uh, yes. The reason is I need to map this level these tables with the sales data table. So you get the same result. So there are two different ways to write the same query. Either you can use the MDP matrix table to join the level tables with the sales data table, or you can use the individual hierarchy tables, items, and locations. Okay. The mappings would be the same, the columns, but only uh, the intermediate table, the MDP matrix, is changing in the second case. Any questions on this query part?
Not on this, but looks like Itika has few questions, right? Except the last
Yes, yes.
one, are not covered, I think.
Yeah, so actually I didn't understand these two questions, but I can cover this one. So it will override the server expression, use the client expression. Yeah. So basically, it's a there are two functionalities over it. I'll explain that. So whenever you have a client and server expression on a same series, always it will take a precedence of client expression when you are reading a data on a worksheet. Okay, but when you're trying to export that series data to a flat file or to a materialized view or to a view, in that case server expression takes a precedence. Okay? When you're reading a data on a worksheet, client expression is given a precedence. When you're trying to export the data of the same series to a materialized view, server expression is given a precedence. In that case, client expression will be ignored. Okay, I hope I answered your question, Mithika.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
When we are selecting table in a column of series instead of sales data, we give when we selecting table in column for series instead of sales data, we give yes. So basically, when you are creating I hope you are asking the series definition. So basically, the series functionality we cannot do much over here. So when you are going for data properties, right? So you have to select the sales data here. You don't have any branch data concept here. Okay. So table name, it displays the sales data as a sales data, But when you're trying to write an expression, you should give a branch data. Otherwise, it will not identify the expression. Okay, it's a seeded functionality. Uh, did I answer your question, Ikita? If you want to select item table, what would be the it would item table, it would be this like normal item table only. There is no need to change. Only for sales data, it is a issue. It's not an issue basically the way they have defined it. So for item, it would be item table only. Mm, 1 minute. See item. Okay, so no need to change anything. For all other, it would be same. Only for the MDP metrics in general properties also. So in general properties, we are not selecting anything, right? In general properties, we select only series name and the internal name. Only table name we will play around in the data properties and the expressions. Okay. So data property apart from sales data table, rest all uses the same naming convention what you see in the backend on the database. Uh, yeah, so in the expressions also, in the expression, right? So, yeah, in the expression you can use for all other tables you can use the original names. Only for sales data you have to use the alias name as a branch underscore data. Am I clear, Ritika, or still you have any questions? It's not an issue basically. It's a seeded functionality. Okay, it's that's the way it's configured. Maybe we can stop here. We'll continue tomorrow with a different topic. Okay. If you have any questions, let me know, or we can close here for today.